Hi, this is Mr. Max. So I am doing paper 2 extended, the one that was written in 2020, Namibian Senior Secondary. Right, so the very first question that you have here is, and I hope that all of you remembered how to solve this. You're supposed to write this recurring decimal as a fraction. Now, all that you need to know, if you have any recurring decimals, so suppose I give you 0.4 as a recurring decimal, that's a dot, you put everything over 9, okay, over 9. If it's 0.3 recurring, you put it over 9, so that's 3 over 9, which ultimately becomes 1 over 3 when you solve it. So because you have got two digits here that are recurring, you need to then put them over 2 nines as it was. All right, so you will be putting them over 99. It's very easy, and then you can see if you can simplify, and if it doesn't simplify, then obviously it's just going to be that particular answer. So 49 over 99, and that is that particular question for 1 mark. That's what you need to know. So the only thing that I can stress is you should always divide by 9. If it's 2 digits that are recurring, divide by 99. If it's 3 digits recurring, divide by 999, and so on. The attendance of a football match at the Independence Stadium in Windhoek was 9,723. You're supposed to write that to the nearest 10 to nearest 1,000. So you have to see it as 9,000 here. That's 700 obviously makes that a 10,000. Three significant figure. The first non-zero digit is 9. That 7 is the second one. The 2 is the third one. So that 3 doesn't change it. So it's 9720, 9,720. All right, so this question here, you have to solve it the same way as you would with compound interest. So what you need to remember here is that the increase of 1.1%, that is the rate, 1 plus 1.1%. The 7.6 is like your principal amount, and then the 9.88 is the final amount. So you just got to go ahead and you got to find n. Now, the moment you get questions that involve you to find an index, you should remember that it deals with things like logarithms or exponential equations. All right, so in this particular case, we do arrive at 1.011 to the nth power equals to 1.3. Now, since there's no way for you to make these bases the same, so you got to take logs both sides, the natural log or the common log, right? So you just deal with the common log here. So power law, the n in front, and now you need to divide throughout by log 1.011 in order for you to find the answer. But then they are saying you're supposed to give the answer to the nearest whole number. So 23.9 becomes then 24 years. So in 24 years, it will take this population growth to go to 9.88 billion. Right, so here you have got a question here about pens and pencils, and the key questions that you have to find the number of gift boxes that she has to pack. So first thing I do is I write 84 in prime vector form, same with 60, and because of this equally, then I know somehow I need to take the highest common factor, and the highest common factor is 12, and that's the 12 boxes that you can actually pack. Okay, so the number of pens and number of pencils, so you got to use that 12 into 84, that 12 into 60 in order to find each one. So pens will be 7, 84 divided by 12. For pencils, it will be 60 divided by 12, which is 5. All right, so that was the correct answer for that particular question. Right, express this in the following as a ratio in its simplest form. Now, there are many ways you can do this. You can either write 3 over 2 divided by 1 over 2, use your calculator. Bottom line here, I made the denominators the same. 4 over 6 and 3 over 6, the same as what you have on top. Then I obviously cancel the denominators, and then the numerators I'm then going to have 4 to 3. A shopkeeper wants to sell a jacket. Price of the jacket is 330. but the customer is supposed to pay 15% more. So I have two methods here. If I find 15% more of 100%, that's 115%, 1.15. You multiply that, that gives you directly the answer. Okay, second method, you find 15% of 330, all right, and then you add that to the 330. So bottom line is you should find $379.50. Right, so we have got the price of an electric toothbrush. There's also 2 or 3 ways to do this question, but what I did here is I first divided 140.4 by 3 to get the price of 1. Okay, so the actual discount that I get then from this amount is $14.10. I put that over the original cost price. That gives me a percentage of about 23.2%, correct to 3 significant figures. Question 8. George needed to answer a question on Loki in an exam, so he was asked to construct the locus of points which are 5 centimeters from a point. So 5, that is a circle that he is supposed to draw, and the radius is supposed to be 5 centimeters. The points that are equidistant from line AB and line BC, so you see they have got A, B, and BC, so B is common, so you have to construct the perpendicular bisector of the angle. Okay, so that's going to be an angle ABC, and then you have to cut it in half. That is what George needed to do there. Right, so here you have got 2 points, and you're supposed to construct a perpendicular bisector. So you take your compass and you open the radius of slightly more than the distance, use that same radius, something like so, and then you obviously will find where they intersect. That is going to be perpendicular bisector. It cuts this into half and also at 90 degrees, and that is the line we're looking for. Right, so you have got some equations here, exponential equations. So obviously what I do is I write 1 as x to the power of 0, anything to the power of 0 except 0 is 1. And now the bases are the same, so I equate the indices. So p equals to 0, and that is the first answer that you're supposed to get. 1 over x to the 18th power becomes x to the negative 18th power. Then you take the coefficients, let them equal to each other, to a q plus 2 equals negative 18. So you solve that for q, you should get that 2q is equal to nothing but negative 10. Question 9, you have got also here some sort of indices or index, something raised to some power. So I separate them. So what I do is that the 2 cube is 8, x cube is that. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 8 is 24. X to the 4th times x to the 3rd power, you add the indices. And then when you are dividing, so 12 goes in 24 2 times, but here you have to be a bit careful. When you are dividing, you are subtracting the indices, so that is going to be 2x to the 9th power. That means that n is equal to 9, a is equal to 2. Right, so you have got an expression here, or you have got an algebraic fraction. You're supposed to write in as a single fraction. So here x squared minus 1, that's the difference of 2 squares, x minus 1, x plus 1. And obviously here you need x minus 1. So in order to complete the thing, you multiply out by that negative 1. And once you do that, you get x plus 1 all over x minus 1, x plus 1. So you can actually go ahead and cancel the x plus 1, goes in itself once, and it also goes here once, so that leaves you 1 all over x minus 1. So you got to complete this table. This one was a very straightforward question. This is x plus 4, and this is y minus 4. Right, so don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well, so you can get all the latest updates. Right, so 4 years ago, that's x minus 4, Gideon was equal to 3 times whatever Ruan's age was 4 years ago. So write them down, solve them, rewrite them. So the first equation is x minus 3y is equal to negative 8, or anything equivalent to that. Second thing is 4 years from now, so x plus 4, then twice as old as Ruan, so that's why the 2 comes at Ruan's age. Multiply out, clean the brackets up, you get x minus 2y is equal to 4. So those are the 2 equations that you got to take into consideration. Right, so you've got a graph of y equals to 13 minus 8x minus x squared can be expressed in vertex form. So you got to find the values. So first of all, I identify my A, identify my B, and identify my C, and then obviously I know this is the axis of symmetry. X equals to minus B over 2A. So 8, B is negative 8 and then A is negative 1. So once I solve this, I get x equals to negative 4. So this is a parabola essentially where x, the axis of symmetry, is nothing but x equals to negative 4. So what you need to find out is you need to express the values of h and the values of k. So h therefore should be straightforward, 29, or that is k, and h is nothing but positive 4. Alright, so I've done a few things here so that you can have a look into how you can also do this using completing the square method. Alright, once you realize you can do that, you realize that obviously minus x squared minus 8x minus 16 is the truth. Okay, so you've got an inequality here, and in order for you to solve this inequality, you gotta first subtract that 5 from both sides, so that gives you negative 1/4 is equals to, not equals to, but greater than or equal to 7. So you gotta get rid of this negative 1 over 4, multiply by the inverse, which is negative 4. That gives you x is less than or equal to. So you say inequality sign has to change whenever you multiply or divide by a negative. So that's very important that you remember that. Okay, so make sure that you understand the inequalities and you use that point to substitute. See what you get wrong. A hollow hemisphere of negligible thickness, so that negligible thickness is things that's so small or unimportant that you cannot really say it has got some sort of thickness, right? Hemisphere also, volume of a sphere is nothing but 4 over 3 times pi times r cubed. Now you got to divide by 2 because you are dealing with a hemisphere, so it's 2 over 3 times pi times r cubed, and I say that equals to 145 pi. When pi is on both sides, you can actually drop them, then you multiply by nothing but 3 over 2 the inverse, and we find r cubed is equal to 216, which happens to be a cube number of 6. So we are dealing with something like that where the radius is 6 centimeters. Surface area, again, the formula is 4 pi r squared, so divide that by 2, that's going to give you 2 pi r squared. So now you know what r is, so you just go ahead, write your answer in terms of pi, and it's 72 pi. Right, so you have got a regular octagon given that has got diagonals BF, as you can see, and also diagonals HD, as you can see, intersecting at O, OB to OD, to OF to OH are all equal, they are radii. What of triangle is triangle ABH? ABH is nothing but isosceles. What type of special triangle is BOA? BH, BOH. As you can see, I've included that little square there. This is a right-angled triangle. Okay, type of quadrilateral, that's a kite. AB, OH is a kite. Then BDFH, BDFH is a square. Right, so this is some question on similarity. So you got to write the first question is 1 is to n, to divide both sides by 13. Everything is in centimeters, so nothing should be the problem. So eventually this is 1 is to 3. Smaller bottle holds 250 milliliters. Calculate the volume of the larger one, so obviously you're going to use length scale factor, area scale factor, and volume scale factor, and that 1 over 27 is equal to 250 over watt, and to find that watt, you do nothing else but find 6,750. Alright, so the factory produces 3 machines A, B, C, so very important, some are red, some are blue, some are yellow. They are saying A produces 1/4, and they are saying B produces 1/3, so you gotta find C or the last one by saying 1 minus that stuff gives you nothing but 5 over 12. Okay. Right, so the trucks are taken together from the combined output. You gotta use a tree diagram, so I've got my 3 diagrams right here, and you're supposed to obtain the probability that one truck is red, one track is blue. Probability of red times blue gives me nothing else but 1/2. So here you got to solve some simultaneous equations. First of all, the first one, I make x the subject of the formula, which is x equals to 3 plus 2y, and then I substitute that everywhere I have an x in the second equation. So once I do that, I'm obviously going to end up with 4y squared plus 9y minus 9, and obviously you can use the formula to find these values, but simply I factorize 4y minus 3, y plus 3 equals to 0, then obviously y equals to 3/4, or y equals to nothing else but -3. Okay, so substitute back into this one. So first one is first, 3/4 gives you 4.5, so 4.5 comes here. Last one there you have got -3, so -3 gives you nothing but -3. So you got to draw a line of reflection. Simply said, that is a line of reflection, nothing to take home about. And also this one will be somewhere there. Every point, same distance from the line of reflection, okay? Okay, so this question has a certain pattern. And what you need to do here is you'll answer questions, something about reflection or rotation or one of the transformations that something can undergo. Right, so I hope you have had a proper look at it. Very first answer you're supposed to describe. Then I got a reflection, that is the square ABGH into CBGF, and also the middle line happens to be BG there. And the square BGF C onto FEDC, obviously that was rotation 90 degrees clockwise, or you can simply just write -90, and the center was point C. Right, so the following data represents the percentage of family income allocated groceries for a sample of 60 shoppers. So the histogram was drawn to show this information. However, you need to understand they give you some constant value here. So frequency density is equal to the frequency divided by the class width, as you should know. But this does not give the number 8 when you are dividing 18 by 9. 9 you get from 25 minus 16. You get a 2. So it doesn't give us the 8 that was suggested here. So in order to find that 8, you must find a constant which 8 was multiplied with to give you that. So 8 divided by 2. So when you divide 8 by 2, you get 4. So every time you gotta multiply by 4. Because 2 times 4 gives you that 8 that you got there. And we're gonna do that for all the other frequencies or class intervals. So for this particular interval, we already determined we are not going to draw. We already determined we're going to multiply by 4, so that's 15 centimeters. The second one, we're going to have 22/11. 11 you get from 40 minus 29, and the 22 is there as frequency. That gives you 8 centimeters, and the last one gives you nothing but 1 centimeters. Write down the modal class. The modal class will be 29 to 40. Now obviously that modal class is the class with the highest frequency, and when you do the area under the bar graph or the bar, it's going to be 88, which is going to be equal to the highest frequency.